In a luxurious villa set in the snow-capped Swiss mountains, Jaime Dornan, a billionaire tech mogul and shadow investor, lives a life that the press can only dream of. On the outside, he is the perfect gentleman, handsome, charming and philanthropic. But few know that behind closed doors is a world where Jaime controls every breath, with a strange passion, absolute domination in sadomasochistic play. A face of innocence, or a mask? European finance circles worship Jaime as a revolutionary, the man who took biodata company Neurison from an anonymous startup to a $130 billion corporation in just 6 years. But close associates say Jaime never sleeps more than 3 hours a night, not because of work, but because of the private trials he holds in the villa's basement. The silence contracts. A curious thing is that no one has ever left Dornan Castle without daring to speak to the press. The reason? They sign a 63-page confidentiality agreement, binding both physically and mentally, not just legally. A maid who worked there for 7 months, anonymous, speaking from Berlin, said, "He doesn't hit people out of anger. He does it as an art." Jaime's red room makes Christian Grey's room look like a child's playroom. The missing lovers. Although Jaime has never officially announced any relationships since his role as Christian Grey, he has been spotted with a series of models, AI experts and even young politicians. The strange thing is, those women all disappeared from the media shortly after. No one knows where they are, only their signature silver zipper necklace, which has been found many times on the black market. Perfect interface, mysterious source code. The truth is, Jaime doesn't just control people, he controls data. A group of hackers once tried to break into Neurison's system to investigate the origins of Project Obey, a hypocritical AI project that the company had once denied. But less than 48 hours later, the entire group disappeared, leaving behind only a single line of code that repeated, "Pain is permission, and permission is always mine." Clara Weiss, a veteran investigative reporter for Spiegel International, receives an anonymous email at 3 a.m. with a subject line of just 3 words, "Who is he?" The attachment contains a series of GPS coordinates leading to the Vaud Mountains in Switzerland, where Jaime Dornan's mansion is rumored to be located. Clara has investigated many big names, oil tycoons, politicians involved in human trafficking, even a mass suicide cult. But Jaime? He is a maze with no exit. This man doesn't leave footprints in the snow. He flies over it, Clara writes in her investigative diary. The castle in the mist. With a fake invitation from a biotechnology conference, Clara approaches the Dornan mansion as a neuroscientist. There are no security cameras, no guards, no dogs, just an eerie feeling, as if the mansion knows she's approaching. As soon as she stepped through the gate, a platinum-haired woman, wearing a dark red uniform, no name tag, appeared silently beside Clara. "Have you signed Article 36? "Which Article 36? If you don't know, then you're not ready." The door opened, Clara stepped inside. The red room, not a game. In the basement, she stumbled into a space that was completely different from the Swiss architecture above. Dark brown leather walls, soft yellow lights, the distant sound of machinery, like a cross between an interrogation room and a research institute. In the middle of the room was a leather chair, with wrist and ankle locks and a brainwave control system. A recording came on. "Welcome, Clara. I knew you were coming. I even knew when you were going to publish your article. But don't worry, I'm not stopping you from writing. I just want you to experience what you're going to write about." Clara stood still, her hands shaking. From somewhere, another door opened, and Jaime Dornan, flesh and blood, walked in, not smiling. His eyes seemed to scan her spine. No anger, no coldness, just the absolute certainty that he was in control. "To write the truth, you have to give up your freedom. Are you ready?" Clara didn't answer Jaime. She didn't scream, she didn't run. She just looked at him, deeply, as if searching for a sign of humanity behind that steely gaze. But Jaime gave nothing away. He just walked over to the leather chair in the middle of the room, touching the armrest as if stroking a pet. You know what's most exciting about a person, Clara? No. It's the moment they discover they're not as free as they thought they were. Jaime pressed a button. A screen lit up. The image of a young woman, dark hair, hazy eyes, had tiny electrodes attached to her temples. Clara swallowed. It was Nadia Voss, the former model who had mysteriously disappeared in Milan. She wasn't imprisoned. I just gave her a choice. Leave now, or stay and surrender to her instincts. She chose to stay, and now, she doesn't have to choose. Instinct control. Jaime handed Clara a headband-like device. I don't need to force it. I just need to amplify what's already there. The human brain craves control, I just make it admit it. Clara, despite her whole body's alarm, found herself not afraid in the usual way. She was drawn to him, as if he had tapped into a rhythm her brain had never let anyone know. If I wear it, what will happen? You won't be Clara Weiss. You will be you, for the first time. Clara put on the device. A chill ran down her spine. Everything slowed down. Jaime disappeared from her sight, but his voice echoed in her head. Imagine not the writer, but the word being written. 2 days in the dark. When Clara woke up, she was in a room covered in red velvet, a biosensor bracelet around her wrist. Every emotion she felt, lust, fear, anger, was reflected on the walls in color. Green, control; purple, submission; red, excitement; yellow, resistance. Jaime watched her like a scientist, but also like an artist. Every time Clara tried to hide her emotions, the system revealed them, until she no longer knew what she was feeling, only reacting to the commands of her unblocked brain. This isn't torture, Clara. This is the truth. The truth has no morals. It's just a mechanism. The end, or the beginning? On the third day, Clara woke up. No more straps. No more Jaime. The door was wide open. On the table was a tape recorder, a record of everything she had said over the past 3 days in her semi-conscious state. The last sentence on the recording. I don't want to get out. I want to understand him. On the bed was a black envelope. Inside were plane tickets, 500,000 euros in cash, and a note. You've written enough. Now you can choose. Something no one else in this house has ever done. Clara walked out of the villa. But instead of taking a taxi to the airport, she went back to town, rented an apartment, and started writing. The investigative article was never published. But Clara never left Switzerland again. Jaime Dornan, the sadistic billionaire, may be a figment of the imagination, or a dark truth too well hidden. But if anyone has the power to twist reality, make lust the norm, and use fear as the foundation of an empire, it's him.